Okay. I'm doing the old-fashioned off and on again. If that doesn't get us there, then I'm out of options. Aside from angrily calling my ISP. Alright. Yeah, I probably even should have just rebooted OBS, but whatever. Yeah, I killed stream and restarted, so less than ideal, but whatever. Hopefully we get through the rest of this. I kind of got derailed here. I think we've covered most everything that there is to cover. There are some extra characters kind of get enabled as a bit of extra value. Chirrut, I do want to go back to it a little bit again because Chirrut would actually end up being like really nice to chuck into a Mon Mothma team. As long as you could go first, Chirrut would just never end. Yeah, I think we're fine. It's gonna take Twitch a second to catch up, but yeah. Just kill it and restart. We'll be good. I guess I'm giving advice to people who can't see the stream anyway, so this is an interesting way to do it, but you know what? Whatever. Alright. Yeah, this ability's sick. Really, really strong. Plays it right there alongside the one we got to earlier. Both of these you would be extremely happy to see in a run. I would even say this being consistent predictable value makes it even more valuable, even though Term Meter is less shiny than ability coming up sooner. Yeah. Solid. Very, very good. Luke would love this. JKR is kind of fine with this. This is Luke. This just screams Luke to me. Luke, maybe Imp Troopers, but again, I think with Imp Troopers, most of the time you're picking them for matchups where you were already going to get the kill. But this is just like... You can literally just read this as CLS always starts the battle getting 27% Term Meter. Unless you just happen to like... I don't know, what would you even take for Han, Chewie, Chewpio, C-3PO to not drop somebody below 1% health? I guess this is like a kind of funny Talzin's like Plague self-cycle. Dooku would actually get a lot of Term Meter on counters because of this, but it seems criminal to not like why would you ever get this and not give it to CLS? I guess if you get like a second one, you like I don't even know, can you stack the same piece? If I got this twice, I would put this on CLS twice. I'm not even joking. Like if you get this with CLS, you could just hold all specials all the time and just like auto basic people down. Yeah. That's a strong effect. That's a very nice effect. I mean, it is and it isn't. I think it's a strong effect because this is basically just like giving Rex to CLS almost. We have a modifier be resistant % HP effects. CLS can still drill through, and you like Han gets to shoot whoever he wants, so you don't even necessarily have to even worry, right? Like as long as they're building for damage. Like maybe it punishes Bruiser CLS setup, but I think offense CLS is probably gonna end up being more wanted here. Or just, I guess like Night Sisters have a really, really nice offense pool. So this is extra nice build around. We'll go half and half, I guess. I honestly would still rather put this on CLS, but it would be funny to try this on Mother Talzin. You hit the Plague, your team just immediately spikes an absurd amount of offense. Actually, what is... What? What is even happening? I'm trying to think otherwise. Like... recent meta usage. This could end up being kind of nice for like Vader versus Rey. especially if you're going to a slow roll style, that extra offense could actually just help Vader punch through. Even a non-crit on Rey could suddenly matter a lot. It would be fairly nice to insert into a lot of meta usages. I would actually say this is just like a good flex value. KMGR would work too. According to this one? Hey, if you were just talking about Ataru Cam getting extra percent offense, it's definitely true. Yeah, Dooku, the issue is, like, Dooku can do some good offense, but I feel bad because we're kind of just hitting on the same plot beats for, like, all below 100% health. It's either protection ignore. I mean, I guess, like, a Sith Trooper AoE could just be massive. Alright, let's... I just need to, like, copy-paste them. Because we're, like, it's hitting the same people for synergies most of the time. Sith Empire Trooper, this would actually be pretty sick for Sith Empire. Alright, we need to just kill this one. The bit was funny, but... Was it funny? I don't know. I enjoyed it. I mean, your Dooku read is right. I for whatever reason, I'm just trying to avoid calling out the same people every single time. Otherwise, I could just start copy-pasting that slide here. I actually think Send the Fire Trooper AoE would feel really, really nice here. Right. Sith Empire works in fairly large offense pools, so Sith Empire Trooper AoE. Not that, I mean, you can or might get it fairly early on. You pop that, your team should be getting an immediate 80% offense. That's staggering. So, yeah. Kind of the same reads as early abilities. Still the same people benefiting for the most part. I don't think there's really anyone else to really call out here. Wait, did I read these wrong? Hey, we just repeated them. But I also just realized, so when I first read these and interpreted these, I read it as you get it for one turn at the start of battle. But no, this would just cycle them permanently, right? It would be dispellable, but in between, like, they should just get it on turn 2, 3, 4. Wait. Yeah, this is sick. This is actual God tier. This will open up like Dooku solos that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do otherwise, depending on their ability to remove tenacity out. Yeah, my read on this was actually the opposite. I was thinking it was like JK released tenacity. I thought it was like everyone would have crit hit immunity, tenacity up, and defense up for one turn, and then it would just be gone once they went once. So I was reading this as like a pre-shield. But I don't know if I necessarily bought in on him. But basically anyone who was a potentially good duelist but wasn't quite there or didn't have the tools to stay in one piece all the time. Nest, I actually almost don't even think wants this for the most part. Maybe in matchups where she was taking too much damage, the crit hit immunity will matter. But Nest is worried about like Nest is worried about effects that like normally can't be resisted because she brings the tenacity anyway. If you get this could enable her to go like a house stack build, but I don't know if we get the remod per battle or if we're locking at the start of Conquest. Yeah, no, this ability's sick. I had the completely wrong read of this, or I just misunderstood it when I read it. I don't know if I'm supposed to copy paste it and do the same thing down here. Pretty vanilla. Like M Troopers, any Alpha Strike team. I don't think there's too much to really read into here. Yeah, Vader, that's okay. JML's damage scaling is actually pretty funny. But I don't think he'd be the first, second, or even third choice. I don't think there's too much to read into here. You just, whatever damage flex you're looking for. Maybe, like, you have a tough battle coming up and your people are stamina down, so you feel the need to chuck it on someone who you normally wouldn't chuck it on, maybe a little bit less powerful just to get the job done. But otherwise, yeah, you're probably just taking your most powerful power characters and shoving them in. Shoving this on them, and they just do the thing better. Like, maybe I think the biggest thing for me, like for my general purpose, is my Imp Troopers aren't necessarily the strongest right now, and this would actually probably give them license to go like to the Eternal Emperor hunting, put on their big boy pants a little bit, and you know, let them punch above their weight a little bit. I would actually say, like, if your teams are geared and rated to already be fighting those things in territory wars, you probably would actually be better off just using this on a team that's a little bit under geared to make them a little bit more competitive, is my feeling on this, right? Like, yes, there's the whole, like, you make big number bigger part of it, but I would rather just help the team drive as cleanly as it could. Alright, if we already have a good gear team, why not make two instead of just, like, one god team most of the time? That's my read. Wait, I put this into a Google Doc or something on Discord. I was thinking about it. It's not necessarily a format that, I mean, I could try. I don't know. I don't know how well this works. This is literally like 1080 by 15,000, not 100,000. So there's a lot of buffs to go through. It kind of is what it is. Yeah. Alright, we got another repeat. We actually have a few repeats. We can just skip this one. Oh, it was boring the first time. I'm still bored this time around. I saw the first half of this. That mastery bit's actually kind of sneaky. This is not a debuff package, like a cleanse package. They named it that way, but this is a mastery stack package that comes with some nice self-capable cleanup. This has a lot of potential. I mean, 30% chance to gain 15% mastery is kind of whatever. But I would be more inclined to just jam this in a little bit with like the meter cooldown package, just as like an extra bonus. I mean, I would basically almost read this as a worse version of this. No Google Doc work until the Patreon is done. Did you see? Yeah, you saw it in the Discord. Can I read the writing at this distance? Yeah, it was just... This is a very long doc. I was trying to find the old one. Yeah. Quality's fine. Like... Mastery, to me, still just isn't that interesting of a mechanic. And if this was like... Well... Actually, okay, no. I'm reading this wrong. This isn't 30% chance to gain 50% mastery. You will always gain 50% mastery and above. So this is actually pretty sick. Yeah. I think you lean harder. I would lean harder on Jedi here or something like that. I guess in a funny way, this actually would. Like, Kylo has enough buff generation that it actually could get away with this here. I don't think you chuck this on Mon Mothma. SE lead. SE doesn't really generate that many buffs, though. Especially for himself, right? To me, this is the extra damage potential I wanted from JMLE to have normally. Because you can basically think of this almost as, like, if Grandmaster Yoda does Battle Meditation, everyone's just getting a big Mastery Bomb. Every Jedi Lessons is stacking Mastery. This is basically your opportunity to make JML lead. Kind of feel like you wanted it to be. Thinking of with Royal Guard in the Mastery gain. It's tiny. Like, you think of, like, Rey, like, JTR, sorry, specifically not GL Rey, as buff generation. They're not really all that interested in Mastery most of the time. This could actually open up a bit of a evasion cheese setup, because if you give someone like JTR rapid Mastery ramp, they can actually just become unkillable sometimes, which is funny. But yeah, most of the time JTR is an effects-based team. I don't think they really care too much about... I don't even know what BB-8 or R2's Mastery is, but it doesn't matter for the way that goes, right? Yeah, I think JML lead is probably going to feel the best here. GMY, I'm a fan of as well. This really does just feel Jedi synergetic. And maybe Kylo. I guess like a crew team, if you wanted. Like, buffs are flying around enough there that you could kind of make a funny executioner potentially. It's absolutely up. What are we talking about here? I got lost. Sorry. I mean, this is Newt and Grievous without needing Newt. This is... Or you could even see this as you do Newt Grievous and you get double down. Every time, with the evasion, yeah. Like, obviously, Vader choke, you'll do like 32% max health AoE damage. But GG, this actually, if you run GG Newt, this is almost unlocking LSTB Grievous. It's not, I think Grievous is bugged to get like triple or quadruple TM, so we're not quite that far, but this actually does get him close. Like, GG AoE will just give himself like 60% turn meter if you hit 4 or 5 target locks. Yeah, this is... I know that GG is maybe not the team that most people would think of first. Like, there's some obvious build arounds, right? There's plenty of debuff teams. BSF, AoE debuff soup. Obviously, we'll turn it into a damage dealing ability. But grievously, it actually gets insane value here. And obviously you have like your Vader BSF. Palpatine kind of. Palpatine doesn't really do debuffs in bulk, he just TM trains enough that it just bulks up over time. Like Mon Mothma Geos actually stack this up really easily as well. Mon Mothma depends on what team you draft. Wedge, defense on a basic. It could also give M-Trooper some punch through. Geo's, I would say, benefit easily the biggest out of the bunch. And it would just kind of soften up someone for spy as well. Yeah, this is sick. This is fantastic. I know that people are probably gonna like just jam this on Basel every single time, but it's gonna be so damn hard to not just put this on Grievous every single time. Oh shit. I guess with all the technical difficulties, I got missed. Shit. All right. I want to see. I know that there's a way to do stream elements. Okay, so I might as well field this since we're already exclusively on Twitch involuntarily anyway. I actually am considering just trying out Twitch exclusivity. People have been asking about it, I'm just like, and it is true that like it's easier to just do Twitch Prime and bits and all that. I don't know. Most people who watch this on YouTube, but I haven't really tried making the swap. Let's see. Alright, whatever. I'll come back to it in a bit. But yeah, I didn't see the donation. For whatever reason, I can't even see it hooked into OBS. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I don't know what was happening earlier. Upload just completely dying. We're fine. Yeah, GG is going to be sick for Amplify Agony. Maybe not the most powerful character to put it on, but I think that team is just going to go insane. You'll just get infinite TM loop. It's going to be 10 out of 10. Like is a buff, they also gain 5% offense. We're kind of, this is actually almost just an exact copy of this for the most part. Same read, probably same decision making, I think. To the point that I'm probably just gonna. Still the same issue. JTR doesn't really care about her offense. It's just she's an effects-based team. Maybe, like, I think actually. There we go. I think Mon Mothma is actually going to want to pick this up fairly often. Because that's already a paper cut team, and this would kind of help give you some extra punch through over the top. Yeah, not bad. Very simple, but yeah. Like, this to me reads as so much more interesting than this. This has always just been my gripe with Mastery all along. Like, yeah, Mastery will this means that JML will just start stacking protection and crit avoidance. So, like, I think this is the idea of Mastery. It's just some characters' Mastery just sucks. Like, look, Nihilus gets accuracy, health steal. That character does not steal health to save his life. It's just, yeah. Give and take a little bit. Maybe some benefit more than others. Allied units gain 40% health and max protection. It's just a chunk of stats. I mean, I guess this like synergizes with Ray, making more purple protection. There's like soft synergy with something like 5-0 first lead, I guess, technically. Making the clones a little bit harder to get killed off before you've bought enough time. Yeah, Nest, it increases her solo thresholds. Oh, Grievous, that's true. Grievous is just an immediate health. Or immediate damage increase. Yeah. Are we getting more simple as we go down? Okay, we got some stuff up ahead. Yeah. I would say Grievous is the clear winner. 5-0 first point argument. I mean, yes, the clones become a little bit harder to topple. That doesn't really feel like that compelling of a reason to me compared to, like, I think Grievous or Rey are like the immediate top two. I don't know if there's anyone else really to be worth thinking about here. Maybe Sith Eternal Emperor if you're going for a solo. Would actually be kind of happy to see this. Like 40% max health with what he has initially. It's actually kind of sick. Like Dooku is a squishy character to the point that it's almost not even worth giving him those stats. But also, like, most of the time, the dude just doesn't have a matchup where more stats are enough to get him there. He needs either that tenacity and crit avoidance. I mean, he gets crit avoidance, but like he needs that tenacity and defense or something else. I don't think this really gets him much otherwise. I guess we can point out, like, Vasily Jedi. It would boost the purple protection, assuming that it applies before the lead is calculated. God, actually, so this is actually a really important question. Is the effect just going to passively apply to those units, or is this like a global unique that would apply after battle starts and the lead is established? Because the uniques don't usually apply to leads. Ooh. It's a bit tough to say. I guess beyond that, like, soft Padme synergy, the more health that you have in Padme, the harder it is for them to damage courage off of you before it gets converted into courage. Like, you know, you just want to take less damage. Same reason why Padme has some synergy with defense spotting as well as health. Oh, is this just an example of rarities? Okay, so we do have confirmation that they can just... So maybe all of these could be... What is happening? Okay. Is there a... Okay, maybe I should, like, miss something in the announcement. But I figured that white, green, blue, purple was the scaling, but we can see, like, a blue white dot, or a blue 1 dot, a green 2 dot, a blue 1 dot. Maybe not, or maybe it's just mod dependent. But a blue 1 dot would already be kind of contradictory unless it just goes like blue at 1 dot, purple at 2. Maybe what's happening here doesn't really make sense. Yeah, it's the thing from above, but better. It's just more damage. You take those. I'm not gonna go over it if it's just the same thing. This I saw at the announcement. This sounds pretty funny. You could do some kind of funny things with Ki-Adi-Mundi and like stance swapping. I don't know, that's really worth building around. This is actually kind of sick for JKR lead since you get the bonus with out of turn attacks. And also like JKR GMI specifically. Right, if you toss in a Grandmaster Yoda like 40% turn meter after every single one of his moves, then like this is basically, you could turn this into the Grandmaster Yoda versus Droid Battalion dynamic from LSTB, but just everywhere. And this would be like a ridiculous blast. It feels like we're kind of calling out Grandmaster Yoda everywhere, and I'm not doing this on purpose or like as a cop-out answer. It really is just like, dude makes a lot of buffs, and also his basic, like doing an assist on yourself, especially for less damage where the damage isn't necessarily a promising thing. This is just Grandmaster Yoda gives himself 40% turn meter, assuming that they have more than 50% health is like worth noting. But this is gonna be a blast to use on Grandmaster Yoda. I almost don't want to give it to anyone else other than Grandmaster Yoda. So yeah, sounds amazing. Good JKR synergy, good GMY synergy, and just good all around. Not bad. I guess like if people don't have Jedi, I don't know, what would be the best second candidate? First Order's almost that, but not quite. I'll look at the roster quick. A quick refresher. Just keep going back to Jedi. Like Ayla Sakura in like a JML team would actually be kind of funny. Just issuing a stun after every, like she calls someone else with Jedi lessons and then just goes for a stun again immediately. Sith Empire would actually get some subtle synergy. Like DR being able to double basic on the leader. Like if you have Fear or Deathmark on the leader and you get that double basic off, that's pretty good cooldown reduction. That's actually kind of noteworthy, I think. It actually does have some soft on Mothma synergy as well. BH singly, that's true. You would get a pretty even faster contract proc there. But you're already getting that pretty quick on the I don't know if that would really change most matchups. Did I just say that then DR? Yeah, Mon Mothma, barely. Clones, kind of the same thing with the droid battalion. Yeah, actually clones do kind of like you get a little bit of extra arc turret value. Like it's a very small thing, but chuck it in. Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Kind of like. In terms of like mechanical, like fun sounding focus, I would put that right alongside Grievous getting more turn meter. Right, like Yoda in LSTB when you're hitting Droid Battalion is fun, and this is just the opportunity to do that everywhere else. So, Galactic Legends. And also possibly CLS. This actually begs the same question of, would this apply? Like, does this change their stats, or is this just a unique after combat resolves? Like, would you ever really feel the need to use this otherwise? Like, yeah, you can make a big DR. JKR, not really. Jedi Knight Luke? I guess actually technically any solo. This is actually a pretty sick solo assist. Like a really sick solo assist. Because it's the same thing, right? It's just people in the lead slot. If Chupio works on CLS, then you could actually just try like a Chupio solo and stick him in the lead slot and he would just borrow from himself with the mega stat if that works. Would be funny. Dooku lead solo. I mean, like if you give Dooku the tenacity tank and give him this, yeah, I think Dooku, at that point you would just need to start checking the enemy team for like dispels, any real damages. JKR's stat shares too. JKR's stat pool just isn't that impressive though. That's my one issue. I mean, you give this to JML though, and suddenly Jedi Lessons is gonna hit stupidly hard. And also JML, like you give him the 49% offense, and I think he takes that happily. That will chalk that up to first line. GG, true. I don't really. GG feels like, yes, it's 82% max health. I fully recognize that, but it feels like a waste of the rest of this. I mean, we can honorable mention it. They're trying to do like a cam thing. Allied healers, so not even necessarily supports. CG slightly learning from Kiadi Mundi and realizing that they gave Grandmaster Yoda the support tag. Most of the time I think this is going to feel pretty trash. Yeah. I don't know, maybe Visas Mar can get some value. IG-11, I guess, actually. might be able to get some better damage in. This is the exact same trap. I think people will see this and think it sounds spicy, but getting offense isn't enough for a character to actually start doing damage. Their ability ratio matters as well. So like, yes, Barris Offie with Kiari Mundi is capable of some pretty crazy numbers. That doesn't help the fact that her basic doesn't make good use at all. Maybe you could like do Barris Offie with Cam and this, and she'll do like a 50-60k basic, and that would be kind of funny, but not exactly the most compelling thing I've seen by any means. Yeah. That is what it is. I mean, 54% is a pretty crazy number, though. Maybe that's the one thing that's being overlooked right now. Because with Kiari Mundi, I think it was only about 20%. It still isn't really going to matter, but it is a pretty significant swing in total damage potential. So I still don't really think it's going to matter, but it's a big number, and anytime you see a number that big, it does warrant some consideration of like if the scaling could go crazy. There really just aren't that many people with the healer tag. That's the issue. Yeah, I think it's just gonna have to be like IG. IG would be most interested. Because Smar does some okay damage, especially like if she's auto-assisting against Sith. So she would be a flex play, but the issue with that is that it would literally just have to be her against Sith. So even that's like, we're taking a niche thing and making it even more niche. I guess we have reached the purples. They named us massively overpowered, selling it high. Having seen this already, I'm not sure if I agree with their description. It's not my choice, it's CG's. So we have gain 10 buffs to do massive damage, which I'm pretty sure just means 99k. This actually feels a little bit weak, because we see that this is like a single time payoff. So basically you gain 10 buffs and you get to do 100k free damage. This should be, because like Ray's Whirlwind does massive damage 3 times, right? Daka for the healing offense buff. I don't even know what Daka's ratio is. I don't think it's too impressive though. 163% twice. That's actually not bad. Yeah, I should have checked. I wasn't sure what she would be slinging around, but that, I mean, that is roughly a 320%. I still, especially if we have to lock in advance, I don't know if you're necessarily going to be like slapping her with the crit damage triangle. But next time I'll do Super 3. I was expecting it. I figured it was an inevitable. We're just getting through every other month, I think. It's just what life is going to be now, fortunately. I don't know. I'm not really too wowed by this. Like, maybe Grandmaster Yoda, it just helps him push through a little bit more often. Giving one unit 10 buffs is not something teams do often unless you're specifically aiming to do it. Is there anyone else other than Grandmaster Yoda? Like, Bastila makes about 6, I think. Like, you would need more repeatable than anything. Like, JTR could give some finishing power. Anyone who retaunts constantly, like Scion, actually could get it fairly often. I don't know if I would call that like a realistic constant synergy that you would aim for. Especially because tanks, I would assume, most of the time won't be able to take their turns. Is problematic trying to do damage if you can't actually do anything. So, I mean, this to me almost feels like if you could combo this with the auto assist yourself after taking the ability. This would be an insane payoff for Gramasuda. We have like a combo of abilities that could just like completely break an encounter, almost to the point that Gramasuda could maybe solo. He's not quite at that point, but close. Like, I guess Mon Mothma over time with Chirrut would get there. Like, Jedi Lessons gets there kind of slowly. It's just not that regular of a thing. Like, what are tanks that can... Does Ferocity with the Arcana's a buff? No. Debuff. Fortunate. Like, Secret Intel and Translation, but even those take forever to ramp as well. Actually, Kara and Mon Mothma would have a fairly easy time proccing. Let's just look at Rebel Fighters real quick. Yeah. Night Sister Spirit. She's kind of reliant on taking turns, though, for the most part. I mean, Daka does have the offense up and defense up that she makes every once in a while. Like, Jedi Lessons, if you Jedi Lessons on... I guess, like, Jedi Lessons with GMY could help accelerate him even more. General Skywalker, not really. CLS, not really. Darth Vader, well... I assume that every time that you do a Merciless Massacre turn, the buff reappears above his head, and that counts as a separate instance, I want to say. But that would still be like you get to your second MM and then you do massive damage. Once that doesn't feel fantastic. OG Kylo, that's true. OG Kylo could actually use it on solos fairly well as well, because he kind of wants to be getting hit constantly. Wait, he makes damage over time. Yeah, he makes dots on himself. It would... Oh god. It would actually... If you happen to have him, whatever reason, God help you. Savage de Press would become a little bit oppressive. I think. Like, actually would just kind of pop off and be able to solo teams. It actually is really strong synergy. And with his 30% over, or 30% terminator gain repeatedly, he actually would be able to use it quickly as often as it comes up. It's actually not bad. Yeah, relic so much for 75. At the start of each allied unit's turn, they inflict fear and plague on a random enemy for 2 turns. Fires, that enemy takes 25% max health damage. Enemies below 50% health with fear expires their... Getting longer in text. Not a huge fan of the random bit, but... I mean, any turn with... or any unit with rapid self-cycle can essentially just infinite control. You could actually just combo this with the GMY double move Terminator setup, and just fear lock teams. It is worth noting that this doesn't say can't be resisted, so you actually would probably have to pass a potency versus tenacity check. It's kind of a shame because it feels like we keep on hitting the same teams, but like a lot of these revolve around being able to self-cycle. That does mean we're kind of hitting on the same people. Like, Von Mothra would get infinite control, but obviously the person that you're hitting, it would expire on. Does GMI get potency up? I keep on forgetting if this is GMI or Old Ben. I think GMI does potency down on basic. Let's see. Yeah, GMI does potency down on basic. Nuke could spread extortion quickly. Sure. He doesn't necessarily, like, they don't take turns that rapidly, but it would mean that they would just get to a point where they're just extortion and fear locked forever. That's actually pretty gross. I mean, this sounds really powerful. This actually, in terms of potential, this probably ends up having to be one of the more broken abilities available. Like, you could just, obviously fear isn't, like, this isn't like stun plague them for 2 turns, but this is extremely repeatable. This is long control. Like, as long as your team can pass the checks, you can, this will just kind of automatically defeat a lot of teams at the end of the day. I don't think Newt's the go-to here. I guess the question is, how many buffs can you give to the game? I still think Grandmaster Yoda makes the best use of this, right? Like, if you give this a Grandmaster Yoda with the self-assist for 30% less damage one, yeah. Just, like, you would just be cycling his turns constantly, cycling fears constantly, and it would just be absurd. I didn't actually realize I could just do it this easily. Oh, damn. Tyler to do a hotkey. Powerful. Alright. Last one. We finally made it. And by the way, CG's, like, told us that this wasn't supposed to be all of them either, so... Whatever. Hey, it'll be fun though, because it means that we don't know everything going into Conquest. So this is just what we've got so far. Ally unit in the leader slot uses ability. All other allies are called to assist. So this is kind of like the Empire Galactic Challenge ability. This is pretty sick. There's a lot of potential with this. I'm trying to figure out who's going to use it the best though. I'm gonna go pull up the leader list. Is that cheating? Luke in defense stance is actually gonna be kind of nuts with this. Okay, this actually, so Grievous with that self-proccing damage one is also going to be ridiculous. Grievous and CLS actually might be the winners here. Like, don't underestimate the fact that Grievous is gonna have almost infinite Terminator. Obviously, this is like a 2-card combo, so you don't necessarily get to hit this every single time. Mon Mothma will be stuck at 100% Terminator with this. Yeah, I mean, Mon Mothma only needs like 1 or 2 cards. I don't even know if Mon Mothma necessarily makes the best usage of this. Like, the thing for Grievous is, because he gains double the Terminator of everyone else, you're essentially doubling down on value of this. Whereas, like, Mon Mothma's Terminator, Pow is the one who's going most of the time, and then everyone else gains Terminator infinitely. So Mon Mothma doesn't even get the lion's share of turns like Grievous does. And then CLS, if you leave him in defense stance, he also gets a ton of Terminator, so you get extra value there. With the other cards that we've seen so far, though, if we can get them, I don't think CLS is looking to trade hits. I think CLS just wipes the board most of the time. Yodelete, I'm glad you said it, because it was the first thing that popped in my mind, and I have said GMY so many times tonight that I felt like a broken record, but yes. Okay, I feel comfortable putting it first now. At least you said it. Well, it's the card name. I do need to... I don't even know if GMY lead would necessarily be the best way to use this, but it would be hilarious. And like, GMI lead without the Zeta loses. I think you actually keep the Terminator, but you lose the extra damage buffs. So it's kind of... It's a bit wet noodle. I guess it means like Jedi Knight Luke with Heroes Arise actually becomes a double assist. But it's funny. You would like probably auto kill someone immediately. But it's just not the craziest usage. Who did I even say other than Grievous and GMY? Oh, I said CLS. We'll put that at the bottom. I feel pretty confident about that, especially if you're taking counterattacks on your team. CLS will just cycle regularly. You could also do like a funnel strat where you just go Jedi Master Luke lead and then feed him Jedi Lessons constantly. That doesn't really feel like a good playstyle to me, though. I guess Aura lead would actually be pretty funny. I'm gonna save this document right now. Why is Creative Cloud updating this second? What are we doing? If you have Aura, go first. It's not an instant contract, you would need another move, but that's so much contract progress immediately. I think it's almost 8 out of 10 or something. Can't even see tools now. What the heck is happening? You know what? Good enough. Close enough. Hux would have a small usage. He could like double Mass Assist call. To me, I feel like the characters that we've listed so far have the best value. Not to say that there can't be more, of course. I guess Beskar Mandalita has a soft synergy. Gina should Brood Alpha. It actually wouldn't be terrible with either. Like, this is actually, like, pretty plug-and-play flexible in general. Most teams, I think, would be pretty happy to get this to varying degree. Rey, actually, the funny... God. Oh, God. JTR, if you ran her with C3PO, would actually automatically get a C3PO assist call. You could just, like, double call BB-8, and that would just happen. That's... Man. But I actually still can't see my windows. Okay, whatever, we got there. is actually pretty gross. Yeah, I would say that this is pretty plug and play flexible. Okay, we're back in action. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like we've said everything there is to say for the most part, though. This is like you could shove this into most teams, and I think they'd be pretty happy to get it. SLK, JML, Ray, maybe less so depending on the secondary team that you draft. Even Ray would be pretty happy with it. Maybe Sith Eternal Emperor would be the least beneficial uses out of all the Galactic Legends. Vader, of course. Kind of the same as that Galactic Challenge. I'll do an honorable mention for Geos. Kind of fitting that this has the most room at the bottom of the list, because you legitimately could just extend this out forever and shove every single team name in. Nah, I don't know. I think maybe I'll like crop this into like 5 or 6 tall and then make it side by side instead. Just try to make it like a normal 1920 by 1080. Or is it even this? I'll reformat it. Yeah, you know, just shove. Have to crop everything into this small box. Might be my favorite disc. It's not mine, but I can see why you would say that. It's very, yeah. It's a very simple effect, but there's a lot of ways to use it, and you shove it into different teams and it means different things as well, right? This JTR interaction, I don't even think is the most powerful in this list, but just the sheer concept of getting automatic C3PO assist calls, like most of the time JTR wouldn't even need it, but just in terms of like delivering a power fantasy, I would love to try this once. This would be so much fun just to try once, just to like feel. I just want to drive it and be like, wow, this is such a dumb team, and then you know you can move on to whatever the optimal actual way to use. Am I doing with the screen? People were asking about how I'm gonna publicly issue this, and I'm looking at actual formatting instead of sending out a tower of an image. I don't know. Would the tower somehow work? I don't assume so. It would be god awful for looking on mobile. Would it either be awful or would mobile actually just It's hard to say. Who could say, really? I think I'll just go 6. 6 high, go to the next row. It'll end up being like a square resolution, which I don't know if that's weird or not, but whatever. No one can stop me. Alright. We'll make it work. I don't think I need to spend time on this tonight. I got more important stuff to be doing. Once Conquest is out, I'll drop it on the day of. This isn't even anything definitive. This is just theory crafting. But, yeah. Alright. Well, I said this on the Discord, but ran into some issues. I'm so fucking glad I did this now. I'm so grateful, because I feel like if there was another repeat of this, then people would actually like just start getting trust issues with me. I did more testing on Vader versus Revan with the guide that I was planning on making, and with the more traditionally modded Vader, I think Xeris modding might have actually had speed set when we did it in that test VOD or something. I know that he used to run speed set Vader. the fight played slightly differently in that his Vader wasn't dropping Marauder or Bastila below 50% health. So a weaker Vader ended up actually being better for the counter, but issuing a thing saying, hey, make your Vader suck, it doesn't feel practical for a guide, and there's just a lot of moving parts in that fight. If I was gonna release a guide on it, I think it would, like, there would just be way too much to cover when you're in the scramble, because things just play a lot differently. It actually just ends up being one of the higher skill counters that I think I've seen. Like, there's just a lot of spot check judgment calls of, like, who you decide to swap on Thrawn actually kind of matters. You have to, like, check Malak Terminator to see, like, can I make this swap, or, like, would Malak end up taunting if I swap to someone low Terminator with Thrawn? Do I need to swap to a tank because they're low? There was just a lot. And then on top of that, the fight just actually played completely differently when we did the test today. So the video probably ended up, I've already made it and then remade the second half of it once, and I'm glad. I was about to do it again to try to get it like the definitive best possible version, and I think to some degree I almost just need to get my own shore trooper so I can get in and start tinkering. I don't think the counter is officially dead. I think it just, if the guide is gonna be best it can be, like, I might try it in my own grand arenas. I don't want to put it out in a way for public consumption unless I know it's rock solid. And I don't think most people complain about that. Yeah, it sucks to have wasted time, especially because I could have just been working on the playbook instead. But I think the counter itself, like, if it hits, I think it could actually just change the meta. Like, DR on defense would either have to change its modding completely, which would have huge ramifications, or DR would just disappear from defense entirely for people who knew. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily put this out tonight. I mean, if people necessarily want to just tag me and then I can work on it, but I think we've got whatever. I should have public in the Discord. I can kind of pop it up here. This is what I've been doing. It's what I've been busy with. We'll hide some of it. OBS's formatting screen so much. Alright, well, it's formatted for mobile, so you're just gonna have to deal. Actually, do you? Hang on. We're just gonna make this ridiculously sized, and I'll just have to scroll a lot. Don't worry about it. Updating them now from the newer mods. I have a video out for the 6D through A. There isn't really too much to say. I just said, like, hey, here's the categories of mods available. Okay. A little bit scuffed presentation-wise. It's not really meant to be crammed into a 1920 by 1080 resolution. Don't even worry about it. Alright, hello. Facing the wrong way. Oh, Christ. Do I even care? I don't even care. I'm looking ahead because my future's so bright. Okay, whatever we got there. Woo! Yeah, hi. This is not all of it. This is just the one that I've been focused on the most, just to get the format fleshed out. The goal here was to try to, like, don't spare any details from what I was including in the vid, but also didn't want to make things too... I don't know. I didn't want to... I tried to keep it as, like, condensed and clean as possible, but also... like, it didn't feel like... if I tried to cram it into a cheat sheet, I felt like I was going to be compromising too much. So... I essentially have this collapsible format where we hit you with the concepts. We hit you with all the unique character builds. You can expand and collapse them as needed. The only thing, the biggest thing, I really... Google Sheets, it's a free product. I'm grateful it's free. Cannot complain about it being free. The only thing... oh, there's a couple of complaints, but because the image is cropped within a massive cell, I might change this. I might just try to redo it with the cell size normally, or normally. You scroll down here, it just does the whole image at once, which is kind of janky. There's a way I could work around it. It would be a little bit sloppy in formatting, but it could be. It might be worth doing. It probably would. It wouldn't even take that much work to do. It's just, why would they do this? I know that this isn't really what spreadsheets are meant to be doing. It's a weird thing. But yeah, so like, you know, depending on what the individual sheet is for, sometimes it'll just be build guides, sometimes it'll be modding utilities. The current plan is for anything that should have been a physical component for a video release will be free, and the other good stuff will be Patreon exclusive. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's coming together pretty nicely. It's getting there. I had to go through some iterations to try to feel things out. How do you get this? This almost should have been a website if I was a web developer. There are some aspects that I think would have just worked better on a website. This ain't that. I'm not that. So make it work. And then yeah, we have gameplay tips. We have video links to take you to. The only other big complaint that I have is if you click a link, you have to re-click it, unfortunately. Oh, what's up, Zeta? We're kind of wrapping up, actually, but showing what's coming. And then, yeah, same thing here. Like, you would have to click on the cell. You would have to click on the cell address twice. I think this is just like a security thing that they do so that you don't, like, accidentally click something and it just immediately takes you to a website to get a virus. They just show you the URL first. There's no way to turn it off. I checked. But yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I think it looks solid. It's coming. We're getting there. Like, most of the work has just been getting the format down, so now at this point all we really have to do is just flesh everything out. I added this later on. JTR Droids doesn't really have a flex slot, so I'll probably just add the core team tab. But yeah. He's very top heavy. Damn. It's dangerous when you fight it. Facing SLK, so you went full defense to make it a battle for efficiency. Are you expecting me to post it? Or you have your SLK counter lined up? Feeling good about that? How long until you think complete? Don't know. The faster I get off, the sooner it'll get done. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on how many sheets I want to get done before I issue it. I was thinking of maybe just getting LSTV done plus one round of the Patreon stuff done, and then just doing a slow roll on the rest. Because I kind of want to hit on almost every topic that I've covered before. Alright, Joe. Oh, man. Fair. Fair. But no, I mean, yeah, the iteration process is done, so I actually have, all I have to do is just, like, go into the vid, grab the data, put it into the template, spit out the image, and put it in here and resize it. Like, it's actually a very repeatable process now, and it doesn't even take that long, so I don't know. I mean, we got Great Arena tomorrow, but the fact that I don't even necessarily have to worry about the Vader guide anymore means that I can just focus on this, so I don't even have to juggle stuff anymore. I didn't even have to spend time remodding yesterday because I joined GAC on accident. I've been promising a Patreon for like 4 months. Hey. So genuinely, this is what it got delayed for. I think that this was worth the wait because I wanted to have something to offer people back. I didn't just want it to be, hey, give me money. I wanted to be able to offer something cool and I think pretty unique. I know I'm not the only person with a spreadsheet, but I think this is gonna be its own powerful, useful thing. I would say this is worth the wait. I don't know. It's coming together really nicely, and this isn't even like talking about like team clocking calculators or any of that good stuff yet. This is just a mobile-friendly, solid way to get all your modding needs aside from this. Yeah, this has to get fixed. I need to check if this happens on mobile. This drives me crazy. I don't even care if other people wouldn't care. This has to go. This is just the worst. I cannot. Actually, let's just go full anarchy. Let's just do it. Just hit me with all of them. I'm just gonna scroll straight down. Yep. Yeah. Actually the worst. Stupid. All right. I can fix that. Not that bad. Yeah, no, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. But also, I don't think anyone else's spreadsheet is doing what this is doing. Sith Empires can work in Desperation. I don't like the shock RNG on it. That's what your Malik needs to do. Wait, does Malik actually still reset his special? I actually don't even remember. Didn't they get patched? I thought that Malik got patched so that it only resets his drain now when he falls below 75%. So he can't double special. I have to go back and check and remember how that kind of works. Yeah, I think it'll be worth the wait. I mean, this so far is just stuff we've already seen, but I think in terms of format, presentation, and I got a couple ideas for, like, this isn't the first time that I've made it, like, speed spreadsheets, but I want to try to take a next level in terms of, like, user input and just trying to make that as clean and slick as possible. I don't know. I feel good about it. I'm happy with it. There's just some design decisions that Google has made. I would love to buy a beer with the designer and be like, let's talk. What the hell is going on? Because, yeah, I don't know. They've made some choices, and I have to deal with them. Vader is definitely the best. The Vader kind of requires more offensive modding, though, right? It's been a minute. I'm gonna get back to work on this. Actually ended up being a fairly long stream. God, there's a lot more cards in there than I was thinking when I decided I was gonna do this stream. Hey. Specifically when I'm talking about Vader modding, I think it's offense. I mean, the counter's gone through a couple of iterations, but the one I was familiar with, you needed to be able to power through with non-crits. Alright. Well, that was a lot of kids to walk through. It was basically just one massive kid reveal. Oh, also, I guess, Razor Crest exists. Like kid analysis, it's there. Some of it sounds alright, only 2 buttons is kind of whack, especially for a non-taunting door. We'll see. Some of it sounds promising. I don't want to gear cab in IG-88 though, so I'm just going to say ship sucks and is unusable, so I don't have to consider ever doing that. Alright. It's a bit. Good night, good evening. Hope you all have a good rest of your evening. Hope you got some fun GACs coming up. Chromium Week doesn't seem as crazy as I thought, but considering that I considering that I joined on accident, I'm not nearly going to be as strong as I thought. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Alright. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks again for the donation. I will check into why the heck that didn't come up, but yeah, peace out.